Okie dokie. So, good morning, everybody. It's about 3:39 a.m. and today is Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. As you read from my post caption, I have something to say about people who complain about homeschooling. Yes, that's right. Yours truly here has another opinion for y'all. So, sit back, relax, grab that glass of wine. I was going to say grass of wine, but got a tongue twister. Grab that glass of wine and listen to my story about homeschooling. So, homeschooling is the topic of today. You know, it really kind of bothers me that parents complain about having to homeschool their children because of the inconvenience of the COVID-19 situation. Well. Surprising that some of the people my age that I went to school with were homeschooled. So it's a bit surprising to find out that they're going to complain about having to homeschool their children. Well, first of all, let me explain my story here. Okay, I was homeschooled off and on throughout my life. I spent some time in public school. I spent some time being homeschooled. I spent some time going to a Catholic school, aka private school. Then going back to public school, then being homeschooled, then public school, then being homeschooled. So I did this quite a bit off and on throughout my life. So I've become kind of the expert on real homeschooling. Not this bullshit that they call homeschooling today, where in the state of Wisconsin, you're basically just doing your homework at home because they got this program called K through 12. Where you do it on a computer, you interact with your teachers on a computer. First of all, hello, that is not real fucking homeschooling, okay? That's called doing homework at home for school. Let me explain the difference between your version of homeschooling and mine. Okay, so back when I was younger and I was really homeschooled, the way homeschooling worked was your parents or parent wrote a letter to the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction in Madison, Wisconsin, stating that they were removing you from public school or private school, whichever one you attended, to school you at home, hence the name homeschooling. The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction set forth certain guidelines that, yes, parents could do this. However, there are certain things that they must abide by, such as parents must be responsible for teaching their children and for their education. Children were allowed to go outside during their homeschool time for exercise, physical education, things like that. However, because you were being removed from the school that you were in, so let's say Tommy goes to ABC Middle School. Okay, Tommy's parents send a letter to the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction saying, we are going to homeschool Tommy at home from now on. We are removing him from school. Okay, once you are removed from school, you are no longer a member of that school. You're being withdrawn, is what it is, to be taught at home, which means your parents are now responsible for teaching you the curriculum at home, which in most cases it wasn't hard. Your parents acted as your teachers. They came up with your lesson plans. You could buy your books through certain schools, whether it was math, social studies, biology, this, that. And they went through the books and they came up with your lesson plan on what they were going to teach you and what you were going to learn, okay? They were your teachers. Now, because you were being homeschooled and you were being withdrawn from public school, you were no longer allowed to attend any functions at public schools. No prom, no dances, no events whatsoever. because your school was no longer that public school. So therefore, Tommy was no longer a member of ABC Middle School, okay? Tommy was now a member of being homeschooled at his parents' school at home. Now, let's get to what they call homeschooling today. In the state of Wisconsin, there's a thing called K through 12, which is done on a computer, where technically you're not really being homeschooled. Yes, you're doing work at home for school through a public or private school. However, your assignments are being graded by your teachers from the actual school that you're attending online in this K through 12 program. Therefore, your parents aren't actually your teachers. Your teachers are still your teachers from the public school. It's just being taught online through this K through 12 program. Now, going back to this story, when I was being homeschooled, and I'm talking real homeschool, and my mother was my teacher and came up with all my assignments. Copies of my assignments and tests had to be forwarded to the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction to show that I was actually learning and that I was actually doing my schoolwork. Okay? That is the difference between real homeschooling and this bullshit today that they call homeschooling, even though it's not homeschooling. It's that K through 12 crap. So that's the difference, okay, between my homeschooling and this bullshit. This stuff is not homeschooling. It's basically like coming home from school and just doing your homework, basically. With the exception that right now, because most people are not necessarily want to say being quarantined because of this virus stuff, they're doing virtual schooling at home. But hence, it is not homeschooling technically, because you are enrolled in an actual public school. Homeschooling is when you are not enrolled in a public school, you are withdrawn from that school. So that's the difference. And what really kind of bugs me about this is parents, especially people my age, these whiny little fucking brats who you would have thought have grown up because they're in their 30s now. For most of us, late 30s, mid to late 30s. They got children of their own. Some of these people I know were homeschooled, and you would think that they would understand the difference between real homeschooling, which is what we did when we were younger, and this K through 12 thing that is not actual homeschooling. Or some of it might not even be utilizing the K through 12 program. Some of it might be utilizing virtual learning from your online public school, which still is not technically homeschooling. The thing that bothers me is people my age, we were one of the last people with common sense. The generations nowadays have no common sense. And you would have thought that most of these people would have learned something that they could pass on. But no, they don't want to take time to be with their children. They don't want to take time to teach their children. They're too busy and worried about being their child's best friend so that their child don't hate them. Well, you know what? Whoop-de-fucking-do if your kid hates you. It's called being a parent. Grow up, take some responsibility. Yeah, your kid might hate you for a while, but you know what? Eventually they're going to love you again once they get to be your current age and they realize that what you were doing was most likely for their best. It's not a parent's job to be their child's best friend. It's a parent's job to be a parent, okay? And this is one of my biggest fucking pet peeves. Yeah, I know I kind of got a foul mouth today, but I got a lot of George Carlin rolling through my mind. So, going back to this, your job as a parent is to teach your children right from wrong, to teach them how to be responsible, teach them how to grow up and be an adult. A successful adult if possible, but nevertheless an adult. Be responsible. Have common sense. Those are the types of things you teach. Your job is not to be, my kid's gonna get mad at me because I don't buy him this $300 Xbox, so I gotta go out and buy this so that my kid don't hate me. You know what? Whoop-de-doo. welcome to life. You know, it occurred to me that while I was thinking about this homeschooling thing, like I said, there is a difference between the type of homeschooling that I went through and the type of homeschooling that, or, well, what they call homeschooling today, that they got currently going on. You know, there's a lot of people out there, and this is what occurred to me after reading a lot of posts from people out there. You know, some of them family members, some of them people I know, some of them people I don't know out there, you know, just random posts and shit I read on the internet about a lot of different people who were bitching and complaining about having to homeschool. And a lot of them were sitting there kind of knocking homeschooling down, some of them. You know, I've seen this in many different articles all around the country. I've seen in people complaining in California, knocking down homeschooling. I've seen it, people in New York knocking down homeschooling, people in Wisconsin knocking it down. Well, you know what? First of all, let me tell you something. Homeschool kids are not stupid, okay? They're not stupid. They're not awkward. Yeah, it kind of creates a little social awkwardness because if you're homeschooled, a lot of times you don't get to go to prom or things like that, you know. But I'm going to tell you something, okay? A lot of the greatest people out there, including yours truly right here, and I'll get to that in a minute, a lot of us, we were homeschooled, okay? A lot of your singers were homeschooled. A lot of your actors were homeschooled. Look at LeAnn Rimes, great country singer. She was homeschooled for most of her life, okay? Yeah, she discussed in an article there's a little bit of social awkwardness, you know, with not being able to attend certain things. But you know what? Hey, we all grew up. We all got past it. Some of your people like Britney Spears were homeschooled for a while. Some of your great actors out there were homeschooled. You know, this is what they do when you're on a movie set or you're a singer and you're in the studio, is you are being taught your schoolwork at home through either a teacher, your parent, or a tutor. And what occurred to me with a lot of this is all of us who are homeschooled turned out just fine. See, there's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of myths and misconceptions from people saying, oh, well, homeschool kids are dumb. You know, you really don't learn nothing. Well, you know what? That's not true. Let me tell you something. Okay? Like I said, I was homeschooled off and on throughout my life. And when I graduated high school, I graduated with a high school diploma. Not a GED, not a HSED, but an actual fucking high school diploma. And I graduated with a 3.5 GPA. Okay? Then I went to college. And I went to college and I graduated with a 4.0 GPA in the top 6% of my class and with high honors. And it's all states that on my college diploma. That's on my wall right there, sitting across from me as I make this recording. Right next to it is also my high school diploma. Now, you see, I went to college for a couple different things. I went to college to work in the police field. I also took some trade courses later because I got bored and I wanted to go back to school. And after I graduated college, I had a very successful career of many different things since I'm a jack of all trades. I worked in the law enforcement field for a while. I worked in the private security field. I worked as a bodyguard and executive protection specialist. I currently serve our country as a first lieutenant, serving in part with the United States Air Force. And I've received all kinds of medals and awards and ribbons. Currently, I am up for the Presidential Service Ribbon, which is also known as the Presidential Unit Citation, which is equivalent to the Air Force Cross, the Army Cross, and the Navy Cross. which is the second highest honor and military decoration that a person can be awarded underneath the U.S. Congressional Medal of Honor. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm being awarded the second highest military award that there is underneath the Congressional Medal of Honor. And you know what? As I've said before, I have my homeschooling to thank for this. This right here shows you that homeschool kids are not dumb. Because if we were, I certainly wouldn't be being awarded this. So, for all you people out there who like to judge people, and you like to stick it to people, and you like to say homeschool people are dumb, well, you know what? You can stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Because I just blew your myth apart. Wow. What a phenomenal thing. A sigh of relief.